Hello and welcome to another episode of Jingle Books. We're so excited to have you with us, whether you're an author or a writer or just someone who likes words and wants to hear about the people who like working with them. We have got a great show for you today. We've got some really great authors lined up, and they are going to tell us some really interesting stuff. I'm pretty sure I just heard my cat make a weird noise, so that's why I was looking off to the side. But my name is James. You can call me James or J. Gordon Curtis. I am going to be your producer and your co-host today. Our host is actually going to be our first guest as well in an unprecedented move. So, without further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome Bill Hulseman. Bill is the author of Six to Carry the Casket and One to Say Mass. What? Let me start that over. One to Say the Mass. Bill is the author of Six to Carry the Casket and One to Say the Mass. He's here today to reflect on the holidays, reading from his essay, How to Put Up a Christmas Tree. Hello, Bill, and welcome. And I know that you're technically uh, one of the guests right now. I'm going to move you over to the host spot right
Oh,
now.
oh, it's so nice over here.
Welcome, Bill. How are you celebrating the holidays this season?
Thanks, James. I have so many holiday plans. I love the holidays, my background is the academic. My academic background is the comparative study of religion, and
Mm,
I was always really interested in ritual based on my own experience, but also academically, intellectually, really interested in how we do rituals and how we do holidays in particular. And the winter season always gave me the most interesting set of holidays to investigate, because across different cultures, across different religious traditions, um, there are some commonalities that pop up with observances that happen during the winter. And it all has
mm,
to do with light. And, here we are at approaching the darkest time of the year. But we do things to try to bring light into our homes and try to keep nurturing life until the season brightens up again for us.
mm.
It starts even, with Diwali in the late fall, early winter in South Asian traditions. And of course, Advent and Christmas are going to be uh, joining in December, and Yule and Hanukkah. And through all these different traditions, lights are used as a way to symbolize and draw our reflection in about what's happening in the world. It's so dark out, but how do we keep the light alive? And each religious tradition has a different response to that. So I grew up Catholic, and I love celebrating Christmas, but I also love celebrating Hanukkah with my Jewish friends. I love
Mm.
celebrating, any other winter holidays that I get invited to. So
Yeah.
one of my favorite things though was always putting up a Christmas tree, because putting up a Christmas tree, and I never do it before Thanksgiving, and it always stays up until at least the Feast of the Epiphany. But a Christmas tree is more than just a tree, and just more than just decor. When you put up a tree, it's like you get to unpack your entire family history and put
Mm.
it up there as something to reflect on and be the center of celebrations and be the center of your home life for a while. So I
Yeah.
am very excited to pull out the Christmas tree this year and get it up.
Oh yeah, because okay, yeah. No, that is a really interesting thought though, the fact that there's so many different ways that people celebrate around now, but it's kind of like the commonalities that they do.
Yeah.
And also the commonality of the lights is a really interesting one that I'd never really thought of, especially in even really when you think about it, like the tree of like bringing something like a tree into your home while
Mhm.
everything outside is kind of dying
Mhm.
and kind of going into that dormant season is kind of like an interesting way of holding on to the life of spring or whatever. Um,
Yeah, it's a symbolic effort to keep things alive. That it's
mhm,
it's we're part of the natural world. We share the experience of darkness, of the seasonal change,
mhm.
but different traditions, different experiences lead us to interpret it differently. It has different meaning
Yeah.
for each of us, and that's always really interesting and really beautiful to unpack.
Do you do real tree or fake tree?
I love the smell of a real tree. However, I also am a little bit OCD when it comes to cleaning. So I
Yeah.
do not
It's a little
like
hard.
picking up those
Yeah.
needles and the risk of it drying out. And actually, the excerpt that I'm going to share from my book, Six to Carry the Casket and One to Say the Mass, is about. It was really inspired by my husband and my purchase of our first tree together, and so we bought a tree that is way too expensive, totally overpriced, so bougie, but it was just, as soon as it went up, it was, well, this was an investment. This is an
Yeah.
investment in our holidays. That's how we justified it.
Yeah.
So I love the smell of a natural tree, but I don't like the mess.
No, I understand. Yeah. Well, yeah, so I'd love to hear this essay. And I guess the essay is about putting up a fake tree.
Well, putting up a tree in general.
Oh,
So
okay, all
the
right.
title of the essay is How to Put Up a Christmas Tree.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it was inspired by with my husband putting up our tree, our new tree for the first time, and everything that kind of flooded my mind and my heart in that moment.
Mm.
So the essay is a little bit stream of consciousness, and as a good Virgo, I try to impose order over it. So I start with a 5-step method to putting up your tree, and the first 4 steps, are identify and prepare the ideal spot, pick a theme to inspire your tree, deliver the tree and its decorations, and decorate the tree, and then finally bask in the glow. And here's the excerpt. It's best to decorate your tree in late afternoon so that you can immediately enjoy its warm lights in a darkened room. Accompany your basking with playlists of holiday music, but avoid artists like Wham, Mariah Carey, and Jose Feliciano. You will hear them plenty in coming weeks. Instead, focus on playlists that include music from A Charlie Brown Christmas and Ella Fitzgerald. If a recording of Ave Maria comes up, especially if it's by Harry Connick Jr. or Beyonce, immediately switch to a different playlist or throw the speaker out of the closest window, whichever is more dramatic. Instrumental holiday jazz will enhance your emotional engagement with the tree and make you think about your featured solos in your college choir's holiday concerts, or about one particular song that was part of the show each year that always made you weep. It will also trigger memories of past Christmases with your parents, though they've been dead for many years. Like the time your mother requested a roving quartet to sing Silent Night in the original German. And they did. Or the time you volunteered to bring a bûche de Noël for your 8th grade French class holiday party, but you came down with chickenpox and your mom made the whole thing by herself, though you never said it had to be homemade, and delivered it to the school on the day of the party you were missing. And later that day, your French teacher stopped by with a piece of cake for you, the moment that sealed her spot as the favorite among your teachers, and how mom told the story for the next 30 years about how she was so put out because you volunteered her to make a bûche de Noël. Or the Christmas Eve when your cousins didn't show up and nobody understood why. But for the next 10 years, your mom and aunt didn't talk to each other until suddenly they did again. The Christmas Eve where you saw your mom cry for the first time and inhaled Chardonnay with her breath when you kissed her goodnight. Or about the time you were 14 and so depressed and no one knew why, or even that you were depressed, and you burst into tears and went outside and sat behind a statue. And your older siblings eventually came outside to have a drink and didn't know you were there, and you heard them talking about you and mocking you and calling you a scaredy cat, and you feeling so hurt, even though it was a comically vapid insult. Or that Christmas watching It's a Wonderful Life when your mom repeatedly informed everyone around in varying form, but in consistent detail, that Lionel Barrymore was in a wheelchair because he was, quote, full of syphilis. Or the Christmas Eve 2 days after your dad died, when you looked out on a room of siblings and nibblings and offered a toast, and then started giving away your dad's neckties so everyone could wear one to his funeral a few days later. Or your first Christmas Eve as a married couple in the audience of an irreverent drag show, and your sudden desire to make it a tradition, and your delight that now you have someone you want to make traditions with. Or the next year, 9 months into quarantine, and when you found yourself warm and safe and happy in the glow of a beautiful, if bougie and overpriced, tree. Husband on one side and rat terrier on the other. Pro tip, if you do it right, even if a bûche de Noël and a rat terrier are not part of your story, all your memories will come to the surface. Some are happy, some are not, but it's all good. Just let the branches shelter and hide the rough patches, and let the lights shine on the rest.
Wow. I really love that. That was a really poetic essay. I felt like there were a lot of lines in there that I could tell you really kind of spent a lot of time contemplating
Mm.
like how to word them correctly. Like the line about the comically vapid insult,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting. I also thought it was really impressive to have such a heartfelt essay include the line full of syphilis. But I thought that did a great job of kind of getting to the core of exactly what you were talking about. I appreciated you setting that up beforehand because I could feel exactly what you were going for with it.
Mm.
And the line about the lights, I feel like hits a lot harder with knowing that story behind it. So thank you for that. Um, we are running out of time on your segment. Uh, However, before we move on, and before you get on to the other guests, what's a message that you want to try to leave with our listeners to kind of kick the show off?
I think it's not just for the holidays, but it's for year round. And this is a time to step back and figure out, what do you want to do in the coming year? Who do you want to be in the coming year? And the only thing I can offer is a blessing from Marcia Falk, who's a Jewish theologian and poet, and her blessing on children. I think it's good for everybody, and it's, be who you are, and may you be blessed in all that you are. And I
Mm,
hope that for everybody as we move through the winter, as we move through the holiday season.
I love that. Thank you. All right. Well, I feel really weird not taking you off stage right now. It feels like I should. That feels like the natural next move for me, but I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna keep rolling. Let's move on to our next guest. It's going to be Dr. George. Dr. George is the author of the forthcoming book, Mountains to Cross: Finding Life's Purpose in Service. He is going to read a passage from his book and reflect on the lost era of his childhood. Dr. George, welcome to the stage. How are you today?
Hi, James. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Um, I am speaking to you from a remote village in southern India, and where there is not much of modern facilities. So I hope my internet holds up. Um, and I spent 10 months a year on social projects. I've been doing this for many years. And at the end of the year, I come to the United States, return to the United States, and we have a small home there in New Jersey, and I spend my time there with my extended family, celebrate Christmas and New Year. That's my routine, and then come back again in the new year, back to this village. So here I am, and I don't get to put up the Christmas tree. Um, because my two boys have grown up, and I don't have really that much time when I get back to do that. So I'll enjoy the Christmas tree at somebody else's house.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about the winter season, Dr. George?
My favorite part of the season, did you say?
Yes, yes.
Okay. It's quite warm here where I am. So I look forward to being in cold weather. So coming back in December and spending January, not bad at all. I love to walk in the snow. So that will be an exciting change.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a grass is always greener thing because I'm in Michigan and I'm like, wow, I wish it was kind of warm here.
So tell us a little bit about your forthcoming book, Mountains to Cross: Finding Life's Purpose in Service.
Yes. Before I read the passage that I have for you, I want to put that in context. When I was a young man, I'm quite ancient, but when I was a young man, not even a young man, a young boy, every year my parents used to take me to my grandfather's place, paternal grandfather's place. Um, you know, it's a series of islands that sprung up in the sea some millions of years ago. They are called the Waipin Islands, and you can't get there other than through with a boat. You come to the nearest city, and from there you take a boat. And it's a lost era. And when I look back at my childhood, I remember, with great fondness, I remember my days spending the summer vacation. So when you want me to get going, I'll be happy to read the passage from the chapter about my summer vacation for 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
A day in my grandfather's village. I was my boss with my secret agenda and bravado, trying to turn everything into a grand adventure. We competed with our cousins to see who could catch the most mice with 2 large traps, using roasted coconut pieces with a strong odor for bait. With all its dark nooks and crannies, the grandfather's house had no shortage of rodents, especially in the attic storage room, full of grains, coconuts, and plantain bunches that were hung by ropes tied to the ceiling. Unlike us, laborers' children grew up with nature. They were familiar with climbing tall coconut trees barefoot to harvest the fruits, fishing in canals and rivers, and working in paddies. They returned in the afternoon with plenty of catches and produce for the day. Everything appeared natural and easy for them. Their seemingly carefree lifestyle was simple yet enchanting. Like them, my brother and I tried to climb the coconut trees or chase large, stately herons that feasted on the banks of the backwaters. We never succeeded. The day's excitement was in discovering nature and its creatures: colorful butterflies on flowers, tiny insects on plants, chameleons running up coconut trees to escape us, scary spiders in every corner, water snakes swimming beside fish in shallow canals, and an army of black ants fighting red ants, and exotic birds on tree branches. We knew what to avoid, like walking into beehives or getting bitten by scorpions. On sunny days, a few crawfish or lobsters emerged from the waters during high tide to nap on the muddy shores, but they were too big for my small bare hands. Small crabs didn't scare me as much. As soon as I spied a big one, I tried to sweep it away from the banks of the canal with a stick, but the clever creature would rush back into its hole or the water before I could get near enough. When the sun was hot, we would sit quietly under the shade of trees, surveying the fishermen's boats setting out to sea in small wallums or boats manually rowed by 2 or more men. They would return bearing abundant catches in the iridescent hours of dawn. The locals placed nets in canals to snag a bounty of shrimp when the sea receded at low tide. They flung the excess from the fish harvest to fertilize coconut groves, giving the air a distinct reek and attracting countless flies. This is sort of my impression of my childhood summer in my grandfather's place. They were all villagers growing paddy and coconuts. So that's a life that's gone.
What a beautiful and vivid description of climbing the coconut tree must have been. It must have seemed so huge to you as a child. Was that a very difficult thing?
Right.
Who taught you how to climb a coconut
Very,
tree?
very, very difficult. You need some skills.
Yeah. That was a really amazing like recount of what it was like. Did you find it difficult to like go back that far in your memory to kind of recount those experiences, or do you feel like they're still so fresh in your mind that it was easy?
It's clear, it's vivid, it's clear. It was one of my great joys, the summer of, being in paddy fields up to waist, mud, and doing all these little catching fish and crabs. You never forget them.
Yeah, I love that.
And your book is coming
Now
out
I'm,
soon. Is there
now
anything
I'm
else
a
that you?
job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say a few words about my book, Mountains to Cross, Finding Purpose in One's Life. I spent nearly 25 years in New York area, Wall Street, um, pursuing a career in finance. And then at some point, I made a decision that I'll return to India to help people who are, socially discriminated and who are extremely poor. That's what I've been doing, and I spent 10 months and 2 months back in New Jersey. Um, what I have discovered in my business career and even after that, people ask me, um, I made some money, I have been successful in business or whatever, and but how do I find a purpose in my life? And this is not a question that very few people have. Almost everyone who wants to end their lives or spend a good part of their life doing something that is meaningful to them than just simply having a career and living nicely. So I have tried in this book to tell my story, right from childhood and to where I am today. That carries me from my birth in India, then the next 40, 50 years in the United States, and back here, going in, to and fro. And, and what I've learned from the poor people that I live with. I'm surrounded by villages, where most people are extremely poor, less than $2 or $3 a day for a family of five, and I am bringing up children from their children from homes that are extremely poor. So it is a contrast, and then you come back to the under the neon lights of New York City, and you're back again under candle lights. So it's a fascinating life for me. I enjoy it, and I have found my purpose in service, and I find great joy from what I do. I give a whole series of stories. Actually, my book is a collection of stories. Many of them me talking to the children I bring up. So it's a conversation between me and the children. But it's a message for those who like to know what it is for someone like me who has been in Wall Street and living now with very poor people.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your story today, and I'm sure we all look forward to hearing all these stories about life and tying two totally different parts of the world together. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. George.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. That was awesome. That was like like you said, like totally opposite side of the globe kind of, like from your Christmas tree essay to that was such a cool experience. I feel like
we're covering a lot of geography already. It's very exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to move on to Melissa Lance. Melissa Lance is the author of the children's book Dolly and Banksy's Brave Bite Adventure, as well as the WTF adult coloring books. So kind of both ends of the spectrum there. She is going to discuss overcoming her struggles and finding purpose to achieve her dream of writing. Melissa, welcome to the stage.
Hi.
Hi there.
Oh, yeah, my books probably sound a little bipolar, going from children's to the coloring book series. So I don't know what that necessarily says about me, but yeah.
Is there a through line between, you've got different audiences, but what's in common across those books?
Me. Me. So the children's book was always a dream of mine, and I never felt like I could do it. Being an author was just one of those jobs that I thought you were like born into doing. Like you're just born writing and that's it. I was a teacher. I had a whole life experience, and I wound up working at a local organization where I was teaching nutrition in the Flint public schools. I did not like the book that we had to use about nutrition with the kids. So I was like, I'm going to write a book that I like to read and that the kids like to read. So that's where this came up. And the names are my grandchildren. So it took me having grandchildren to be brave enough and listening to the children that I was reading to in the schools to actually say, okay, I'm going to give you something better. And I am so proud of this one. Like I poured my heart and soul into this one. And they try 5 different fruits or vegetables. And I didn't like everything I was reading in the schools. They were like, oh, this is wonderful. This tastes great. Not everything tastes great to kids. So when we get to kale, they don't like it. I don't like kale. I don't want to be forced to eat it. So I want kids to know, like, hey, you can try things. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You're not going to like everything. But I would also tell the stories, like, just because you don't like it now doesn't mean you won't like it later. So I would tell them with kiwis. When I was a kid, I hated kiwis. You couldn't get me to eat that fuzzy little round fruit. Wasn't happening. And as an adult, I retried a kiwi because this little boy in here said, Graham, try it. It's yummy. And I ate it and I actually found out I liked kiwis now. So I'll use that with kids. So I think it's a fun story about just trying something new and trying to be brave. And it is brave for a little person to try something they've never tried before. It can be a lot of work to get them to do that. This will become a series. So there's a new one that's in illustration, and it's about medically compromised children. So that one is going to be, there's 5 characters. So there will always be 5 in the books, but there's 5 new characters that are a little bit different. One is in a wheelchair, one has seizure disorders, one has a feeding tube. And it's just showing that we're going to Bravetown. So the next book is Dolly and Banksy's Brave Town Adventure. And they'll go and they'll just meet new friends, and they all look a little different and have different abilities, but everybody can get along and be happy and do things fun. So that's the sweeter side of me. And then we get to these. This one was all about corporate America, because before I wound up, well, in between teaching, I was in corporate America, and now I'm in the nonprofit world. Corporate America is kind of interesting. And
that's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah, that is a polite way of putting it. So one of my favorite ones in here, see if I can find it, but oh yeah. This happened all the time. Your PTO request was denied. You have more meetings, more reports, more whatevers. And because burnout builds character. That's what they try to tell you. No, burnout.
Wait, did someone actually say that to you?
Yes.
No way.
Yes. My general manager was like, yeah, burnout builds character. You're going to be fine. It's going to make you stronger and tougher.
That is atrocious.
Yeah. And then, so as soon as I hit 50, like stuff started falling apart, and nobody tells you that. Like I always thought, like I would watch my grandmother and like, oh, it's the golden years, right? Like they even had the show, right? The Golden Girls. Nothing's golden about it. Like nothing is really golden. Stuff happens to your body that shouldn't. Like, why am I always tired? Why do I wake up tired? Why? Okay. So the women will get this one. I sneezed and now I need a new outfit. Yes. So this one is funny because I get a lot of husbands that will come and look at this and go, "Oh, my wife needs this." Like, yeah. It's like, so I designed these coloring books to just be real life. You can tell by the name, like I went all out on this, and it's just true stuff. It's things that we can relate to, things that have happened. I love when I see people laughing, but a tiny little part of me is like, oh, yeah, because all that's real. Like all that stuff is things that we've dealt with, and that,
Yeah.
burnout doesn't build character. It doesn't. It gives you burnout, and it makes you cranky and angry and plot like a book that I'm going to need 6 people to carry a casket and 1 to say the math. So that's what burnout does, not character. And I plotted plenty of those with that. So yeah. So they're both different series and both continuously working on more. And I think I've caught the writer's bug because it's so much fun. Like, that's the best part. It's so much fun.
I assume the WTF stands for, well, that's fancy, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
But those books, even for adults, I think we forget how therapeutic it can be just to sit in color. And it's a wonderfully healthy exercise. Did you find yourself doing that as you were facing your own stress at work and looking to jump tracks? How is it something that you use to take care of yourself?
Yeah, it is. And so the very first one I did was the one about corporate America. And it came about, I've been out of corporate America for about 4 years now. And I still get the emails with their reports, and I still get phone calls. And it was one day that I got a phone call asking, how do you do XYZ? I was like, that's it. And I just started doodling, and it turned into the coloring book. So I told my husband, I'm like, this is like really therapy for me. Like getting all of this out and getting it on paper and then seeing the reaction of people, it truly is like therapy to me. So I also have a endorsement in mindfulness and meditation. And I have found that has, like, that's what I'm doing when I'm doing these books, especially these coloring books, it is just truthfully like letting me just release everything that has been bottled up.
No, that's great. So the drawing was the therapeutic part for you first. And you were like, well, these would make great coloring books, essentially. I love that because I wasn't sure if at first my thought was that like coloring books would have been the therapeutic part, and you were like, I got to make one of these. And so I think it's cool that you started with the drawing part of it.
Yeah. That was, it was not what I had planned. I mean, I was truthfully just like, oh, I can't believe he called me again. And why don't they know this? And why am I getting emails? And and then I just kept drawing and drawing and drawing. And then it turned into like, what do I do with it now? And I just had somebody say, make a coloring book. These are funny. And then people bought it. And it's like, what? Like, So,
and it's a wonderful gift to give someone to, if they are feeling the stress, if they need to laugh and color it out, what a great thing to give people to work through their own stuff.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah. Is there a message that you want to leave with our audience today?
I am going to stick with the message that I really get from this one. And it's just be brave. Like, just be brave. Go on adventures, be brave, and don't listen to all the outside stuff. If you want to do something, just do it. Have fun.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. I appreciate you guys.
All right. That was awesome. Okay. We are going to keep on rolling. Up next, we've got Chet Richards. Chet Richards is the author of The Trek Continues, and he's here today to discuss drawing on more than 80 years of life, love, and adventure for the second memoir in a trilogy. Chet, hello and welcome to the show.
Well, hi. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Happy all
absolutely.
the holidays to you.
Yeah.
All of them.
What's your favorite part about the holiday season, Chet? What do you enjoy during the winter?
I have a big wood pile out back from all the trees that have been sacrificed around here. And particularly when it rains, like it's raining today, I love to have a blazing fire in the fireplace and just sit and soak in the warmth and dream with the flames licking up and making all kinds of interesting patterns.
It's a beautiful way to spend the season. Absolutely.
It only happens in winter. It only happens when it's cold and drizzling rain and, miserable to everybody. So that really cheers me up very considerably.
And your second in the trilogy, The Trek Continues, is reflections on your life, your experiences. What have you learned over the last 80 years or so?
Everything you do that's new, if you're doing it for the first time, is an adventure. So you take a new job, that's an adventure because you've not gone into that situation in the past. You're going to meet all kinds of new people and you're going to get new responsibilities, good and bad. Getting married, of course, is a big adventure, as most of us have had that experience. And of course, you can do things outdoors. I've done a bunch of things outdoors as people have come to appreciate. I think one of the real good things is as you go through life, you meet some very interesting people along the way. And it's kind of a hobby of mine to collect these people, so to speak, to become friends with them, get to know their story. And I've been able in my books to write some of the more interesting people that I've run into along in my travels, and give the world a picture of somebody that they would not have known otherwise.
I love that. That's really cool.
Is there a story from one of those people that you wrote about that you want to share with the Jingle Books crowd?
Oh, yeah, I could do that. I also have a Christmas story that I could.
Oh, please, yeah.
Okay, let's do the Christmas story because I had to hunt to get this one.
We don't want that work to be for nothing.
Right.
Okay, so this is an excerpt from a story that I wrote called "Some Assembly Required," which has to do with putting furniture together from small little boxes, and great big pieces of furniture come out of those small little boxes. But this is a take on that. Soon it was time for my drowsy sister to head for bed. Now we're talking about my kid sister. She was about maybe 10 years old, and this was a very long time ago. At the time, I actually was a student in graduate school. Soon it was time for my sister to head for bed. Before that, though, we had a family tradition to observe. My sister was allowed, as I had been many years before, to open one gift of her choice. This done, off to happy dreams she went. After Marie went to bed, the evening continued with pleasant family conversation. Then Dad remembered there was one more thing that had to be done. He had forgotten Marie's dollhouse. We still had to assemble that. The dollhouse was to be a special Christmas morning surprise for my sister, which is why it was still hidden away. Mom left us to sort things out and wandered off to bed. Early to bed, fresh for Christmas Day was her idea. Out from the closet came the unassembled dollhouse, packaged in a flat cardboard box. Inside the box were several colorfully printed thin sheets of enameled steel and the instruction sheet, "Some assembly required," at the top. Very little more. That should not be a problem. Dad was a mechanical genius, as I well knew from experience. He could take apart the most complex machine, clean the scattered parts, lubricate them, then reassemble the machine so that it worked even better than factory fresh. I had helped him on a couple of the most difficult of these projects, so I understood his remarkable gifts for visualization, spatial relationships, and so on. Assembling a dollhouse should present little challenge. Dad scanned the instruction, then expressionless, he handed them to me. What is this stuff, I wondered. I had a degree in physics and used 2 years of professional engineering under my belt, but I couldn't make heads or tails out of the compilation of written gobbledygook. There was a single line drawing of the assembled dollhouse with a few notations pointing out various items, but that was little help. The text was an almost indecipherable tangle. Put tab G/Z into slot 7-3 while being careful not to fold along the line C-C4 until subassembly A5 has been attached. We were stuck with figuring out all this without much help. We laid the printed metal sheets out on the rug and rearranged them a couple of times until they made some kind of sense. Then we examined each carefully, making sure we knew the labeling for each slot and each tab. This done, we worked out a probable sequence of assembly with some guidance from the instructions. Complicating the problem was the need to fold parts of the sheet to create box girders so as to make the dollhouse rigid. All this had to be done in just the right sequence or the thing would be a botch job. Long into the night, we worked on this most challenging puzzle. Eventually, we triumphed. It was together rock solid and looking splendid. A miniature antebellum mansion, complete with a portico on one side, but wide open on the other so that a collection of tiny furniture still residing under the tree inside gaily wrapped boxes could be inserted. The now completed dollhouse was moved to the place of honor under the Christmas tree. It was time for us weary two to go to bed. We knew it was late at night, but we didn't realize how late it was until we looked at the clock. The sun would be rising in a couple of hours. We got a little sleep and rest before Christmas morning festivities.
So you worked all through the night, huh?
We literally worked all through the night. Well, we got the thing together.
Yeah.
And was she surprised?
She was surprised. And she was absolutely delighted. And so were we, of course, at her reaction.
Yeah. It was
worth the trauma.
Yeah.
But my dad and I resolved never to go through that one again.
I think that's someone everybody can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has faced impossible instructions and a indiscernible, construction project ahead of us. So that's what a great story to share with everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not particularly handy, and I still remember the first time I put together like a straightforward bookshelf, and that alone was very difficult. So I can't even imagine all the intricacies of having to deal with a whole dollhouse and in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, the cat was interfering with the whole process, of course.
Oh yeah.
Naturally, jumping on the instruction sheets and on the sheets of metal and so on and so forth, just messing everything up. But I mean, that's Christmas.
Yeah.
So Chet, where can our friends watching Jingle Books find information about your books and about you?
Well, the books are available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble under my name. Chester L. Richards is the name that I'm going with as the author. And the books are basically they're independent stories, a compilation of independent stories. They're all true stories. some of them, I did keep a journal in a lot of my excursions, and so I would record in the evening the events of the day, and that's how I actually became a regular writer, because even though I had started out doing the Star Trek as a graduate student, I was involved in that program for from the third season. But I didn't really think of myself as a writer until I started keeping a journal. And what I found was that my companions on these excursions would ask me to read the journal. And so I would read about the events of the day, and they thought these were really good stories. So I ended up becoming a story writer by basically writing stories for reading around the campfire. Yeah. And that continued, that started over 50 years, well over 50 years ago. And I've just continued doing that ever since.
Love that. Now we're benefiting from it.
Yeah. Then what happened was my wife passed away, and in order to recover my sanity after that horrible experience, I started writing the stories seriously and recording them and piling them up. And I regained my sanity by one story after another until finally I got back to some reasonable equilibrium. And I've just continued writing stories. So I've got 2 books published. I have a 3rd one coming out. We'll be doing the editing next year.
Awesome. Wonderful. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming on, Chet.
Well, I'm very pleased to be here.
Great. Have a good one.
Happy holidays.
And you too.
Thanks.
Once more, make sure that you go and sign up for the Big Bundle of Books giveaway. That is going on right now, so make sure that you don't miss out on your chance to do that. Up next, we've got a veteran returning. I am talking, of course, about Stephen Joseph, and he is going to be taking the stage with Andy Case. Stephen and Andy are award-winning author and illustrator of the Snoodles in Space series. They're going to discuss building a literary universe from scratch through meaningful collaboration. Let me go ahead and bring you guys on. Hello, Stephen and Andy.
Hi. Nice to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Jingle Books.
Thank you.
So how do you two spend the winter? Are there any particular ways that you celebrate the winter season? Stephen, why don't you answer first?
Well, I'm a runner, and there's the Big Apple half marathon in Central Park in December, and I'm cold, but I end up running to stay warm. And I like cooking, and I celebrate Hanukkah, so I make lots of latkes, and I make latkes until I turn green. Just like potato pancakes for those people who don't know what latkes are. And I don't put any flour in my latkes. Everybody else does, and I don't understand it. It's 1 potato, a russet potato, a big potato, 3 eggs, onion, salt, and I throw a little Brussels sprouts to make it a little healthy, but that's it.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good idea. I've never.
Are you an applesauce or sour cream guy?
Sour cream. Yeah, sour.
It's a hard dividing line. It's a tough territory. Andy, how about you? How do you celebrate the winter?
Well, I think that Christmas is a time when you make your own routines and your own kind of special things for your family. So we do this thing because you always find that there's such a build up towards Christmas Day, and then it's like, it's done. So we do this 12 days of Christmas. So there's a gift on the tree every day from the 13th all the way up to the 25th.
Oh, wow.
Just a small gift, but it builds the suspense. It builds, the atmosphere. So I really enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Traditions.
Yeah.
No sour cream or applesauce on your tree, though.
I hate applesauce. Applesauce is disgusting.
I was only ever able to open one gift before Christmas, and it was always pajamas. Like that was a known thing that it was going to be pajamas. It was like to the point where I wasn't even excited about it.
What a surprise. Pajamas again.
Yeah, great.
So Andy and Stephen, you've collaborated on this series. I'd love to hear about what collaboration looks like for you.
Well, We both said well at the same time. That's
You collaborated
collaboration.
on your response. Yeah, that's perfect.
Totally insane.
Yes.
Go on, Stephen.
Well, it really is. First of all, collaborating versus not collaborating is way better. And Andy, just to give you the story, Andy did my first book, and that was The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus, and it was through Mascot Books. And then I got to pick. They gave me 75 illustrators. I picked the 3 I liked the best. They give you some stuff, a little taste, and then they give you a bigger taste, like a buffet of all their artwork. And I already knew Andy. Out of the 75, Andy was by far the best. But all right, I'll take the buffet. I was a little hungry. I saw the stuff, and of course, Andy. I picked Andy, but the whole book, I never spoke with him. They wouldn't let me talk to him or whatever. And then when I had my next book, Snoodles, Cadoodles, Poodles, and lots of noodles, I just looked up Andy on the internet, and he was on the internet. So which is a good thing that he was on the internet. Not everybody's on the internet. Andy was on the internet, so I reached out to him and emailed him. He wrote back to me, and then we started collaborating. And I would write stuff, and I would do the book things, and then give him my ideas, and he might have an idea. What about this? So it's been a lot of. So now it's like 4 books.
Yeah.
Well, he's done 5 books, but the collaboration piece was 4 books. So
Working with a publisher can be quite daunting in a way that you don't really understand what the author wants, because you have to go through a middleman, and they're very restrictive on what advice you can give and what different drafts you can do. I'm an illustrator that will do lots and lots and lots of content so that you can choose and you can get a real flavor of it. So when Stephen got in touch and we started being able to email, we just went wild. I was just giving lots of different ideas. Oh, what about this? What about that? I'll just be constantly drawing. And that would in turn shape Stephen's, can we change this part of the book? Can we change that part of the book? And then it just started getting bigger and bigger.
And then I have to say, when you're working, collaborating with when I collaborate with Andy, Andy will send me stuff like every so often, and it's like Christmas. It's like opening up a gift under the Christmas tree. It's just look, and you wake up in the morning and you get another one, and then like a week later, here's some more pictures. What are you thinking? And I'm always delighted. I'm always like, it takes me way more. It always exceeds my expectations. It's like, oh wow, this is crazy. So yeah, it's like Christmas without getting the pajamas.
Do you think that publishers kind of prevent the illustrators having that direct communication because they feel like the authors don't usually want it, or like where does that usually come from?
I think it's about having procedures in place so that they can work with a large amount of people at the same time. I'm a teacher, so I understand having processes in place to make an organization run smoothly. So sometimes it is that as opposed to the creative side. So we've been able to do a lot more, but the books take a lot longer because we're putting so many ideas in. And I think a publisher wants 6 weeks, got to be done, 15 pictures, no more, off we go. And then they can move on, they can monetize what's been done. And then, they might have 100, 200 authors and illustrators working at the same time, some of the big companies. So
and then the other funny thing, can I just say one thing, like in the first book, like, when you don't work with the publisher, with the illustrator, and then I'll have changes, I have to go through the publisher. And then they say, Steve, one more change, we'll have to charge you. And then I get charged. I pay for it. And apparently Andy never gets the money for the changes. At least that's what I hear Andy tell me, which is terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm okay with that. I just like seeing the work happen. So I'm just excited. I mean, Stephen's work excites me. That's why he gets so much content, because these stories are crazy. noodles kind of powering cars, and then like planets full of like animals, but they're alien animals. My mind just goes crazy, and I was like, "Oh, what about this?" And then suddenly we're creating a whole universe. It's like, well, it's not just them living in Noodleham; it's a whole kind of town full of different people. So I end up putting things in the book. Like in the first book, we had a mayoral race. It had nothing to do with the story, nothing to do with any of the characters. But in the background of all these pictures, you will see candidates for the mayoral race be talking to little members of the public. You'll see posters in windows. And these are all kind of things that Stephen's work was allowed me as an illustrator to do. But it just gets kids coming back to the pictures again and again. Oh, I noticed that. In one of the books, I've got a cat chasing a pigeon. So in every page, this cat is trying. It reminds me of Looney Tunes. I've got a cat trying to chase a pigeon, and you'll just see this in every single like picture.
Yeah. That's amazing. And you know, for kids, those things will grab their attention, right? But writing these books isn't just about entertaining or grabbing their attention. What kinds of skills, what kinds of characteristics are you hoping kids take away from these stories?
Well, I think I want kids, first of all, obviously entertained, and have their own creative mind going. That, you know, especially with the help of Andy, it has to be easy to do. It's just because we do twists and turns, and then there's always surprises just from the story, surprises in the pictures, and it really is something, you know, where they're entering a world like every book has a new museum or like some kind of venue. So the first book had the art museum, the second book had the space exploration museum, the third book had the aquarium, and then the music venue in the last book. So like and one new poodle too. We get new poodles. Like, you know,
I think also kids learn to read from looking at books. They don't learn to read properly from screens, and we are a screen in, you know, community now, world community. People are on screens all the time, so getting them out off their screens and looking at a book scientifically helps them to read better, to formulate words. That relationship between a parent and a child reading the book together, these are really important developmental things, especially for the age group that we're kind of communicating with. So I think that's really important as well.
Fantastic. But thank you both for joining the Jingle Books this season.
Well, thanks for having us.
Really appreciate you.
Best wishes for your series of gifts and for all the latkes ahead of us.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Take care.
You.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know. Shout out to we gave a little bit of a foreshadow there of a future guest. Sorry about that, Bill. I didn't mean to add you right into the middle of that conversation there. We'll get to you in just a bit, though. Up next, we are going to be talking with Diann Floyd Boehm. Diann is the author of Boomer the Curious Bunny Sees the Town. She's going to discuss Christmas desserts to share with loved ones, along with a childhood family tradition. Hello, Diann, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. Go
Welcome
for
to
that
Jingle
first
Books.
question.
Yeah, how do you celebrate the holidays? Is there anything that gets you through the winter?
Well, I'm from Texas, so getting out the coat is the most important thing to me. But other than that, I love to bake, and that's why we'll talk about baking in a few minutes. But the whole neighborhood, they get everything. Brownies, cookies. I take it everywhere. I go to elderly homes and surprise them where people know who I am. And then there's always tons of Christmas caroling. And then my husband and I, we started something a long time ago that is so exciting because my kiddos are all grown up and they carried on the tradition. So I'm very excited. This is separate from the family tradition I'm going to tell you about. But so we go and we buy a turkey. Each kid picks out a turkey or a ham at Christmas time. And then we buy everything it takes to make it happen. And then we'll drive around different neighborhoods and the kids have to listen and get a sense for who needs that food. And then my husband speaks several languages, and he'll knock on the door, and every single time that person wasn't going to have a meal for Christmas or for their holiday. And we deliver them a giant basket of food to cook. So that's kind of exciting. And it's cool that my kids are continuing that tradition.
A family tradition,
that.
but also giving and supporting the people around you. How extraordinary.
Yeah. I totally believe in giving. So, but a tradition that my mama started, because she loved Christmas time, and she loved to make the Christmas presents so beautiful, and she'd put little ornaments on it and little teeny tiny people and little Santa Clauses. But I have 5 brothers and a daddy, of course, and all of us had Christmas names, and it was based off of something about us. So my brother Mikey, when he was little, had tons of freckles. So he said, okay, I'll be Freckles. And then my brother Chris, he ate honey all the time. So he was Honey Bear. And my baby brother, Brian, couldn't go anywhere without his tiger. So he became the Cuddly Tiger. So, and Larry had a dimple, and he still does, but he's one of my other baby brothers. So of course he was a dimple Dutchman because he had blonde hair and blue eyes. And me being the only girl, I was the princess.
Yeah.
So I could continue on. But I know that I do Boomer, the Curious Bunny, and he's a series. But I really wanted to have fun and talk about holiday recipes and share with you that you can contact me through my website if you ever want these recipes. But I love to take brownies, and you can see it on Instagram through other true bakers, but you cut the brownies out of the pan in triangles, and you can make Santa hats, or you can make Christmas trees with little peppermint stems. There's a recipe that I love to bake, and it's called strawberry banana bread. Are you getting hungry yet?
Ooh, that sounds so good. I love strawberry and banana.
I know, it's so good, right? And you can make it without the glaze if you don't want it to be too sweet, or you can make a beautiful strawberry glaze, and then just poke little, when it's warm, poke little teeny tiny with a toothpick or a fork, and have little holes so that the glaze can seep in.
Ooh,
and then if you let it set overnight, the next morning, that's all you're going to want to eat, is that right there.
The next morning, the next afternoon, the next evening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Need a big batch.
Yeah. And I have some other recipes too, if you have any other questions you want to ask that it doesn't deal with that.
What would Boomer want to snack on during the holidays? Is there a particular family treat that Boomer would love?
If I was going to have to bake something for Boomer, it would have to be a carrot cake, of course.
That was what I was hoping you'd say. Carrot cake is, I love carrot cake.
But I would tell you, Boomer, I came up with him because my husband and I, we always walked early in the morning where we used to live along this path. And there was always this bunny around 5:30 in the morning. And I started watching this bunny, and before I knew it, a story appeared. But now we're back home in Austin. And so there's a family of bunnies, and I go out and leave them some food. And in the wintertime, it won't be baking, but it will be what we should all be eating by the time New Year's is over. Lots of salad.
Nice. Yeah.
That's good. That's the missing ingredient in a lot of holiday meals and snack prep, right? The healthy stuff to balance it all out.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
What other treats and recipes do you want to share with us?
Let's see. I love to bake everything, actually, but there's this really cool one you can do. So you make your favorite cupcake. I usually make it chocolate because I'm a chocolate hound. And then after you make that cupcake, you take the liqueur candies, that chocolate candy that you can get. It has chocolate inside, the little balls. And then you put it on top. you have to put a little icing to act like glue so it sticks to the cupcake. And then I'll take the icing and have a nice little tip that makes a leaf, and I'll make little green leaves. And then I'll take a teeny tiny little mini, you can do anything, but I use mini M&Ms and put a little red M&M on top, and it's deadly. It's so good. It's so good.
That sounds awesome. I want that. Yeah. My family always does Buckeyes. Do you ever do Buckeyes?
No, I have not. I was about to say, I know I heard of it because I think one of my nieces make it, but you can share with us what Buckeye is.
It's like a chocolate cup with peanut butter inside. It's basically like a Reese's, but they're like little balls, and they're really good. Yeah, I always eat a lot of them.
I'm coming to your house.
Yeah.
Please have milk ready for me.
Yeah.
Are these all recipes that you learned from your family, or is this are these things that you developed on your own?
I wish I could say I developed my own. Some things my mama, taught me, but I also now see repeats of them, of people making them on Instagram. So I'm sure she got it from some local cookbook or something. So, but
food is such a central
on.
piece. Yeah, food is such a central piece for families to celebrate traditions and to be able to pass on those recipes with, from generation to generation, wherever they originated. It can be a really lovely, lovely legacy.
Absolutely. And I actually love to do very formal Christmas meals. And so we bring out the china, and the dinner table is just very elegant. And then I use my mama's recipe that is actually from Betty Crocker from eons ago, the first cookbook I learned to cook I should say. And it's the way, instead of buying a honey glazed ham already made, you make you get your own ham, and I'm sure you've seen it, or maybe your mom has done it, where you make your mustard glaze with honey, and then you get the pineapple, and then the cherry and the toothpick in between, and lay it all over with the cloves. It is, as Boomer would say, it is yummy for your tummy.
Yummy for your tummy, for sure.
You heard it here first.
That's right. That's right. And Diann, where can people reach out to you to get some of these recipes and to learn more about Boomer?
Yes, and please do, everybody. I absolutely love to hear from people and share lots of baking tips. So just like my spelling of my name right there, it's just Diann Floyd Boehm. I know it looks like Boehm or Boehm or whatever, but it's a Boehm, and there's a long story why my husband's family spells it that way. But DiannFloydBoehm.com, and just reach me right there. And it's been such a pleasure to be part of Jingle Books. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And thanks for sharing these tantalizing recipes.
Yeah, no, I'm hungry.
Email me and I'll send them to you.
All right. Thanks, Diann.
Bye. Take care.
Happy holidays.
Oh, that was a lot. I feel really
hungry.
Yeah, I know. we gotta power through so we can go and just make a feast.
Right.
We've got a few more left. Just as a quick reminder, we do still have that big bundle of books giveaway, so make sure that you are putting your name in for that. We've only got a few names left, so time is running out on that. We're going to roll along, though, over to Rebecca. And Rebecca Hendricks is the author of Hound Dogged. She is appearing today as Miss Edna to share her vintage holiday advice, party tips, and cheeky wisdom from Avoid Yule Blues, a vintage holiday survival guide. Hello, Rebecca, or should I call you Miss Edna?
Edna's fine, honey.
Okay, Edna it is.
A very sparkly Miss Edna joining us today.
Yes, I'm all about the bling.
So, Miss Edna, what is your favorite way to spend the holidays? How do you celebrate the winter?
Well, to have a party, of course.
Of course.
Who doesn't love a party? That's how I love to spend the holidays. And of course, all the delicious food that comes along with it.
Tell us more about that food.
Well, you mean from an advice standpoint?
What do you love to make? What do you recommend that we?
Well, I love I love to bake, and I love to make all kinds of delicious goodies. And of course, I can always refer to my cookbook, from Better Homes and Gardens.
Hmm.
Look at the size of this. Now, can you imagine how many recipes are in this? Now, most people these days, they look at up that stuff on these little devices.
Mm.
I mean, I can't even see the writing on those. So I like my big cookbook. And then, of course, for the younger crowd, you can always use Betty Crocker's cookbook for boys and girls. Isn't that cute?
I like
What a
It's
it.
classic.
compact and small, yes, just like me.
I like how with a cookbook, you usually don't have to scroll past a big story about why you're making the meal before you get to the recipe.
Well, back in the day, some of these old cookbooks, like the Better Homes and Gardens, gave steps for the young women to follow so they would know how to make the perfect meal
Hmm.
for their holiday party or for just dinner.
Mm. So
So it wasn't just a cookbook.
what are your biggest tips? What are your most important tips for throwing a holiday party and for preparing a holiday meal for friends and family?
Well, for number one, okay, you're going to need to start early. Plan early, okay? Don't wait until the last minute, unless, of course, your significant other brings somebody in at the last minute. Well, then you just have to make do with what you can. Fluff a few pillows and, throw up your hands and just do what you can with what you got. You know what I'm saying? But that is number one. So plan early. And of course, always plan for the appropriate size of your room. Now, if you have a small space, don't invite 50 people. They'll be packed in there like sardines. You want to make sure there's lots of room for everybody to move and to enjoy your party. Now, number two is you need to make notes. Now, I'm not talking about on these little newfangled little sticky things, because this can get lost real soon and real easy. So what I recommend is using a notebook, kind of like this one, because it's a good size and you won't lose it, hopefully. Knowing me, I am a little absent-minded, but I do try to keep track of this book. And then, of course, you want to plan your meal with, of course, the Jello mold. Who doesn't like the Jello? And you can use all kinds of toppings on it, like whipped cream, and just a little bit of maybe like a little sprinkling or something. But you don't want to overdo any of that, okay? Because when you bring out the main course, that's the star of the show. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of, leeway to present your main dish.
Wonderful. Is there a favorite topping that you like to put on to add to your Jello?
Whipped cream.
Whipped
The
cream.
more, yeah, the merrier. You can even have it like lick down the side. I just love whipped cream. Who doesn't love whipped cream? Right, Steve?
Right, yeah. Well, so let's flip it. What do you think is an overrated holiday dish? What's something that you think people should make less of?
Oh, I don't know. Probably that spam stuff. I'm not a real fan of spam, but
Fair.
I guess it can do in a pinch if you fry it, and maybe if you could just put a little bit of pineapple on the top, then maybe you might be able to get away with it. You know what I'm saying?
Trick your mind into thinking it's one of those hams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Spam isn't so delightful, gentlemen. I'm just saying. I don't like the spam.
Either the meat or the email.
That's
In either
right.
form, it can be too much.
Well, we all get the spam emails and the scam emails. It's sad. You have to clear that stuff out. I don't even know why they send that stuff.
So when you're throwing your parties, do you decorate like we're seeing on and around you today? Is this how you decorate
Yes,
for a holiday party?
yes.
What's your number one tip for decorating your space to welcome everybody?
Well, you don't want to overdo it, okay? Because if you have like too much sitting around, you just can always like accidentally trip over stuff, and then they're sitting in Aunt Mabel's lap, and you don't want that. Trust me. So you have to be sparse, just a little bit of this and a little bit of that in the corners, you know. So, and especially the ones that have too much clutter in them. Now, those you really want to focus on covering up, you know what I mean? So the big old Santa Claus will work just fine in front of that.
That's
That's
smart.
what I think.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow.
Are you wearing 2 pairs of glasses right now?
No, I'm just blind, honey.
Oh, okay.
I'm old.
I thought that might be a tip. Like I thought it was gonna be like a way to improve your vision twice.
That's a good
A
point.
reveal for your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. That is very true. But I think my last most important tip is to keep lots of aspirin on hand.
Mm.
There's Bear and Anacin. You can always keep those on hand and whatever else little bit of thing you want. I've heard they started making this new thing called ibuprofen that's supposed to be it. And I haven't had any of that.
No, yeah. I've heard
Ibuprofen
good
is all
things.
the rage. Yeah,
Yeah, I've
it's
heard
very
good
on
things about
trend
it.
right now.
Yeah.
And then also, you wanna have fun games. Fun games, and it's always good to play these games after you had a couple of these. Okay, so I'm saying like if you have, if you're playing charades or something like that, people really get into it after a while. After the party's been rolling along for a while, couple hours, couple weeks, they'll play whatever you want.
I believe it. I believe it.
Some things
Well,
haven't changed.
That's right.
Miss
It's
Edna,
called it's
where
called
can
the
our
holiday
viewers
cheer.
a
Yeah.
holiday cheer, a full glass, a full glass. Miss Edna, where can people learn about avoid Yule blues and get more tips from you for their holiday parties?
Well, you can always sign up for Miss Rebecca's newsletter. She's going to be giving and highlighting, the tips and tricks that Miss Edna does. And I also have a column in the newsletter once a month. I answer questions. You can write in and ask Edna. That's my column, and I answer questions for anybody. And
All
also,
right.
she has her own website, RebeccaHendricksAuthor.com, and she also is on Facebook and Instagram.
What's a challenging question that you've gotten for the column?
Well, I get all kinds, but one lady wrote in about her Aunt Mabel's fruitcake. She didn't know what to do with it because her Aunt Mabel brings it every year, and it's kind of like a little hard. It would probably make a better doorstop than an actual fruit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, so she wanted advice on how to nicely and politely tell her aunt, don't bring that cake anymore.
You gotta
And
just
what was
lay it
your
on the wall.
advice?
I told her, I said, now you're gonna have to be tactful. Don't hurt her feelings because you don't want to do that. But maybe you should like make a recommendation, like maybe she could bring the centerpiece, or maybe like something else that somebody else might enjoy. You never know. Just something small, like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
That would work.
Excellent advice.
I love
Excellent
She's
advice.
not a very good cook, poor lady.
Well, if she needs some sturdy material for the centerpiece, apparently she can use that fruitcake.
That's
Hey, now James, that is some good advice, and I will put that in my tip.
All
And
right.
I will credit Mr. James.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Miss Edna. Thank you for coming
You're
on.
welcome. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me, gentlemen, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
You as well. You as well.
you
Thank
as well. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right.
I was going to say that was a trip to the North Pole, but I'm not sure where we went.
I don't know if Miss Edna knows where we were. Oh, that was fun.
But great tips and
I thought
excellent
so
idea
too.
to what to do with those extra fruitcakes. You use a base for the centerpiece. I never
Yeah.
thought of that. That's
Honestly,
brilliant, James.
I thought the doorstop was a good idea too. I thought that could work. we're we're gonna keep rolling. Up next, we've got Bill Holst. Bill is the author of Alan Hovhaness, Unveiling One of the Great Composers of the 20th Century. He is here to simultaneously share a short story, a Hovhaness piano piece, and an intriguing Armenian dish. And you might recognize him from when I accidentally brought him on stage before. Welcome back, Bill. How are you?
Yeah, I think the simultaneous part's going to kind of go away. We did a little rehearsal and found out there was too much distraction. So
that's perfectly fine. Yeah, we can say it's impressive to do all those things individually anyway.
Right.
So, Bill, what do you like to do during the winter? Are there any holidays or any traditions that you like to celebrate as the season moves on?
Sure. Thanksgiving and Christmas are big events in our house. We mainly celebrate with family. My wife and I just retired and we moved back to Seattle, so we're used to a little colder weathers in Oklahoma. But now that we're retired, kids visit us during the holiday seasons, but we mainly stay home, and we have quite a bit we have 8 cats, so we spend time with the cats. A lot of our trees and thing have to stay above 6 feet so that they don't get torn down. But we like to spend time with the cats and family.
Yeah.
So what would you like to share with us today? What's the story that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so actually I'd like to kind of read what my mother, who's actually the author of the text of the book, kind of what she had to say about the book. And then also there was some comments that I just went online and wanted to see what AI had to say about the book. So I'm going to read a little bit about that too.
Great.
So for people who are unfamiliar with Alan Hovhaness, he's actually an American Armenian classical composer, and he had in excess of 500 compositions. So I'll go ahead and start with my mother's comments, what she said about the book. Alan Hovhaness, Unveiling One of the Great Composers of the 20th Century, is based on true events surrounding my husband, Alan Hovhaness, and the stories he told me. In the year 2000, after his death, I started writing poems, which was the only way I could cope with my great loss. They were written with my limited English, yet they were spontaneous and poignant, straight from my heart. After I had written hundreds of poems, it was not enough. I started writing stories from my memories about Alan, events I experienced with him. My book is not about Alan's music, but about him as a composer and a man. Often people asked Alan about his music. He always said, "My music speaks for itself." Alan was a good educator and entertainer. When he was not composing, he taught me about the composers of the past. He most admired Handel, Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, Sibelius, through their music as well as their true life stories and love affairs. My stories are a tribute to my genius husband, Alan Hovhaness, the giant composer. And then the AI comments on the book. This book is a meaningful and overdue contribution to the understanding of Alan Hovhaness, a composer whose influence is profound yet understated in mainstream 20th century musical history. Here are a few perspectives on what the book accomplishes and why it's important. A necessary rebalancing of the 20th century music history. Most narratives of the 20th century music focus on serialism, experimentalism, and the modern avant-garde. Hovhaness stood apart. A book dedicated to unveiling his significance fills the gap in the historical record and helps correct the underrepresentation of composers who chose different aesthetic paths. Hovhaness was one of the earliest American composers to integrate Armenian musical heritage, incorporate Indian, Japanese, and Korean influences, and explore modal and meditative soundscapes. A book with this scope can illuminate how ahead of time he truly was, especially as global musical fusion is now celebrated. Hovhaness's music connects emotionally, atmospherically, and spiritually with the audiences. For many critics of his era, that was a red flag. They valued difficulty, intellectual struggle, and modernist abstraction. Hovhaness valued beauty. For years, beauty was out of fashion. He was therefore left out of the intellectual canon, even as audiences loved his work. Ironically, today, listeners are rediscovering him precisely because his music didn't follow fashion. Frank Zappa once called Hovhaness one of the most creative and far-out composers ever.
Do you think AI got the gist?
I think that's kind of what we're trying to say, is that, you know, what was in fashion back when he was a composer is kind of going out of fashion and tending towards more what he had composed.
And what a legacy really to be able to come back to. That musical legacy.
Yeah, there is a 30-year cycle on music, and it tends to be making that cycle now.
Yeah. You mentioned that he melded together a variety of different kind of musical influences. What's like his direct influence, like outside of that, and what did he have to kind of step outside of his own sort of cultural understanding to go and learn about?
Yeah, so I think one of those big influences was Sibelius, and Alan's music is trying to be both beautiful and healing. I think that's what Alan was always trying to do, is bring beauty and healing to the world, and his music was really his vehicle of bringing that to the world.
Rooted both in Armenian culture and in artistic expression, right? So what an interesting connection to Armenian culture too.
And that kind of leads into we wanted my wife wanted to do a very quick Armenian eggplant dish that like to kind of do a quick
please. Absolutely.
Okay,
that sounds awesome.
We're having a virtual full meal over the course of today.
Oh,
this is amazing.
No, everybody's talking about food.
I love Rebecca and Diann too. They're really good. Get in contact with them, learn some recipes from them. But we're kind of doing something different. It's a vegetable dish. And when we went to California for a book signing, we got an Armenian dish book. And this is about the simplest dish I ever found out of the book. So it's very quick, but it's eggplant. So you layer the eggplants in the dish and butter the dish. And then you mix an egg with some cheese. And
the cue cards. I love the cue cards too. That makes it so helpful.
Parsley. And then you layer it with tomatoes and cheese. Actually, it's really, really simple. But yeah, I was enjoying the other recipes from the Christmas dishes that the girls gave today. It was very wonderful to watch them.
Well, we've had a lot of desserts today, and this feels like the first dinner. And so
this is more of a vegetable dish. So it's really simple, and you just keep layering it with cheese and eggplant. And then it takes an hour in the oven, but I have one ready for just to pull out of the oven. It's very simple, but it looks really good, and we tried it already, and it's different from having just all desserts for Christmas. If you want to do it for Christmas, and then you put it in the oven at 300 degrees for 1 hour. And so here's the dish that's done.
I can almost smell it.
I know, yeah.
With my
I'm gonna,
oh,
I'm gonna maximize this.
Really, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Get a good view.
Yeah,
oh,
but
wow.
yeah, so it's different than beans and onions. So it's something different for Christmas, and you can enjoy a different vegetable dish.
Yeah, that looks amazing. Thank you for that.
But you just throw it in the oven for an hour at 300 degrees, and it's simple, very simple and quick, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about, standing in the kitchen for hours, cooking forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
so
Thank you for sharing that recipe.
yeah, I think this Christmas we're experimenting with a lot of Armenian dishes, just because we went to a book signing in Glendale, California, and which is a big Armenian community, and so we had we purchased a cookbook, and they kind of took us to an Armenian restaurant, so that's kind of we thought we'd go Armenian this Christmas.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking us along.
Sure.
Bill, where can our viewers learn more about your book and about you? Where can they find you?
We're on AlanHovhanessmusic.com. So it's a website that kind of just got created. So there's a lot of history and pictures, and have a blog on there. Soon to have a store. So really, our main business is distributing Alan's music, and so the book is helping with a lot of the promotion and stuff. So that's kind of where we are, is that distributing music and supporting performances throughout the world, actually.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your story and the recipe. And I'm even hungrier now. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
But
thank you so much,
and happy
Bill.
holidays.
Okay, you too.
Thank you. All right, we just got 2 more, and then I'm gonna go eat. We can go ahead and let's call this final warning to get in for the books giveaway. We've got two authors left, so this is your last time that I'm going to remind you. And we are going to roll along to Cece Robinson. Cece is the author of the young adult dystopian Divided series. She is sharing her prequel novella Upheaval in 5 ways to broaden your cultural horizons this holiday season. Hello, Cece. Welcome back.
Hello, gentlemen. It's so good to be here. And I am hungry too.
So, Cece, what do you do during the winter? Are there any holidays that you like to celebrate? Any practices you like to
So
do
yes,
during
we
winter?
celebrate Christmas in my household. But I learned that I was part Jewish about 8 years ago and started doing some basic Hanukkah stuff. So that's just been me kind of getting in touch with my own heritage. But yeah, we focus on Christmas, and all the kids come home, and we do all the traditions with all the food that I won't go into detail on, because I'll just make us all hungrier.
Thank you. I appreciate
and
that.
James, we have the same pajama tradition on Christmas Eve.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
And
Did
then
you
we
also
take a
get bored of it?
picture, all of us together
Yeah.
with the Christmas pajamas on.
Yeah.
So it's a thing.
Yeah. No, I even remember like one year, I was too old for Power Rangers, but I got Power Rangers pajamas, and my mom was like, there was the only pajamas they had. And I was like, you didn't have to buy pajamas.
So I actually get matching pajamas.
Oh, that's more,
Oh, yeah.
I like, that's more of a like sweet tradition, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how we celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for us to broaden our cultural horizons?
So some of these, I think if you just think about them, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I've done that before, or I would do that again. So maybe the most obvious one is to get out in your community and serve. Multiculturalism is not just about ethnic differences, though we're going to get there. We're going to go there. It's also about class differences. And particularly this fall has been very difficult on some families. And so going out and serving in a food bank, serving at a homeless shelter, or even preparing, like this is like a bonus if you really want to do this one, preparing like holiday kits for homeless people. So you've got them in a bag of some sort and you give them socks, warm socks, mittens, a hat. They always need toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, soap, all that kind of stuff. But then something unique and nice that is maybe just for them, or maybe something in your community. Maybe it's a food in Cincinnati. Like we have certain foods. When we were in Nashville, I would put a Goo Goo cluster in. Like just find what your local specialty is. I'm in Cincinnati, so we have Buckeyes. So I would throw a Buckeye in there, and those can be homemade. You can go out and buy them too. But putting together little kits. And then a super bonus for the serve is to go serve in an immigrant community. Then you're also serving someone who's maybe economically challenged because they've just relocated here and also from a different culture, and then asking lots of questions and getting to know. So that's number one. It's all this big thing in number one. Number two is to create a treasure box of like cards. So what we do is you have to take some work. You have to do some research and find traditions, holiday traditions from other nations. So I would maybe pick like 5 or 6 countries first, and then research how they celebrate the holidays. And I would choose something from around the world. So maybe choose a nation from Southeast Asia, one from Africa, one from South America, and one from Europe. Maybe, another from somewhere, maybe an island, and find out their holiday tradition. And then you've got that research, and then you talk about it with the kids. There's a lot of resources on YouTube about this. So it's easy to find a YouTube video of a family celebrating in their own culture with that. And a bonus for this is to make it an advent calendar. If you all remember advent calendars, I used to have them when I was a kid. We actually sold them in our Catholic church. So we would get an advent calendar. That's 24. So that's like, ooh, overachiever there. But how much more fun is that for the kids to open up and have this little bonus each day? And you could also attend a religious service together as part of that. And so just to broaden your horizons a little more. Number 3 is every week, pick a different culture and make a meal from that culture. So my family happens to love Indian food, although honestly, I have not met a cuisine in the world that I have not liked. The one exception may be Ethiopian food, because it literally lit my mouth on fire. And I was
so
like,
shocked.
I
love Ethiopian food.
I was shoving the milk and the sour cream and everything. I don't know whether they just made it really spicy for me or what, but it was so spicy. I loved it. It was so good. It was so good, but I just was. And a bonus with that would be to invite other families over from different cultures, and everyone brings an item. You bring an item, and then everyone talks about it. So obviously, we don't want to make this performative for people from ethnic subcultures, ethnic groups. So we all participate. We all are part of this, and we are learning together. And I think it's a beautiful way to learn in a collaborative way. Number 4 is watch a movie every week from somewhere else around the world. So I was on a Bollywood kick for all this goes with my Indian cuisine. But I had to tell you, Nigerian movies are really good. And then French films, like that's a thing. And Japanese, my husband is on this like Japanese reality TV K-pop kick. I don't know. I go out sometimes and like the mouths are moving, and then the sound and everything is not matching, but they're great fun. So every week, just go somewhere else in the world. Take yourself somewhere else. Broaden your mind through a movie. And then the 5th is borrowing traditions respectfully. Incorporate something from another ethnicity or another religious tradition in your own traditions. And this is what I've applied with my with my newly found Jewish heritage with the menorah. So I light the candle and menorah, and then I've told my kids the whole story of why the menorah is an important symbol in Hanukkah. So those are 5 ways.
I love it.
I don't think that's just 5 things for the holiday season. I think those are good tips year round. I think what a wonderful practice to keep looking beyond for something new, to, you know, because I think every time you find something new from someplace else, you learn something new about yourself along the way too. Yeah.
Well, and not every culture celebrates their biggest holiday in the winter season. That's the other thing. And I mean, there's some areas around the world where it never gets cold enough to call it winter.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, it's really different. And so you've got to like kind of come outside of your own comfort zone to learn. And I think it's really important that we do that and we model that for our kids.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love the watching movies too. Like, I think that that's a really easy way to kind of like dip your toe in the water and get to know a culture a little bit better. I feel like every now and then one will break through, like RRR broke through for like Indian movie films, and then like Parasite broke through for South Korean. And like you get those kind of glimpses every now and then, but I've never been good at taking that and being like, oh, I loved RRR. I should watch other Indian action movies, you know?
And this is where the internet's really helpful. So can you give me more movies like RRR?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is there a film that you would recommend for folks to find this winter?
Well, I think you know, it's just going to be where your curiosity leads you. So for me, I'm probably more of a reader. My husband is a visual person, but you know, I love anything from the old, like the Bollywood traditions where there's the dancing and there's a plot with it. I'm kind of like, it's kind of old school Bollywood, I would say, even like sort of circa, like, I don't know, 2010. But I still love those movies, and they feel very classic and iconic now to us, but there's still great lessons to be learned in every one of those. And even with modern K-pop and how that's being incorporated into movies, it kind of reminds me of when when the Beatles in the 1950s were then incorporating their music into the movies. It's how it has that same kind of feel. And so I think there's a lot of exploration and fun you can have there. But I would just say, where's your curiosity? And just dive in.
That's great advice. Where can folks find you and find more information about the Divided series?
So everything about me is at ccrobinsonauthor.com. And that's where they can download this little baby for free. It's how we got into our world of Divided that we are in. It's set in the modern day. Not really any holiday thing going on, but with that. But and they can find me on most of the socials as at CC Robinson Author.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Thanks so
for
much,
joining
Cece.
us at Jingle Books, Cece.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, the time has come for our closer. And closing us out is going to be none other than Sue William Silverman. Sue is the author of Selected Misdemeanors, Essays at the Mercy of the Reader, and is here to reveal how she found redemption through writing in one shimmering moment. Hello, Sue, and welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you so much. It's great to see you both.
You too.
So, Sue, what's your favorite part about the winter? Are there any holidays that you like to celebrate? How do you celebrate them?
So mine might be a little bit different in that during most of the year, so I teach and I'm co-chair of a writing department, so I'm super busy, lots of going on, just working all the time. So when I have time off, I like to get really quiet. And that's a time when I can kind of get some writing done, reading done, and just kind of hole up. I live in Michigan where it's really super cold and I don't like the cold weather. So what am I doing here anyway? But here I am. And so I really like to be quiet and see some friends a little bit, but kind of turn off my computer just other than to write, but just kind of disengage a little bit and write and read and just really be sort of look more inward and sort of assess things rather than look outward.
I like that.
Especially in a place where you can enjoy the snow. When I've lived in places where it snows heavily during the winter, it's so beautiful and quiet, and it does encourage that kind of introspection and detachment from the overstimulation of the rest of life.
Yeah. This has been such a busy year with so much going on, and it's nice to just disengage from it all.
Yeah. Was it during one of those quiet moments that you found redemption?
Yes. So, redemption, it's a little bit obviously more complex than that. But given this holiday season, one thing that I think about that sort of leads me there is that we don't just have it like Christmas and Hanukkah, but it is the Feast of the Epiphany. And of course, part of the feast or celebration is when the Magi visited baby Jesus and brought him gifts, the gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So as I kind of riff on this idea of gifts and epiphanies, it's really epiphany. Those are revelations, right? Epiphanies and they are gifts to writers and of course to readers who read your work. And so in my book, Selected Misdemeanors, there's 71 flash essays in it, which means that they're very short, like tiny little gifts. And each revolves around kind of an epiphany. Each is sort of a small gift, which is in itself a revelation. And writers, of course, write to discover their epiphanies and their revelations. And what I'd like to do is read just an excerpt from one of these essays, which is which is sort of like the biggest revelation that I had through writing. So this essay is called The Memory Box. And as I say, I'm just going to read an excerpt, but to set it up. So when I was like in about second grade, my father took a trip to Japan and he brought me home this little, they're called puzzle boxes, just like 2 inches by 3 inches. But the deal was to try to find how to open the box. There's like a secret compartment. So I'll sort of pick it up right there. When I first received the puzzle box, I spent over an hour figuring out how to open it. I finally find a panel camouflaged in the design on the side. I slide it back. Behind it hides a carved wooden knob. I push it. The box snaps open. I gasp. It is empty. At that moment, I'm sitting on the floor of our house in Bethesda, Maryland. My sister, walking past, asks what's wrong. I explain. She laughs and says, "You're supposed to fill it." The owner of the box supplies the secret treasures to hide inside. I'm only in second grade. What secret treasures could I possibly possess? Is the box meant for tangible treasures or, given its smallness, intangible ones? As intangible as a memory, a secret? Perhaps I consider the silver key to my roller skates, my pink and white beaded birth bracelet, gardenia perfume, my Pluto the dog hanky, canceled foreign stamps, dead leaves the texture of moth wings, the question marks of my shorn curls, winter dust the color of the skin of plums, an ochre-colored bruise on my arm, my mother's tears, the red tinge on my father's cheeks when he's enraged, the sound of my sister's footsteps walking away from me. And then it kind of flashes forward to the present. I never once over the years placed any tangible mementos inside. Isn't it really designed to hoard memories or maybe words that create them? This faded box on my desk is now broken. The drawer won't close. After all these years, the interior spring mechanism has snapped. My own interior spring mechanism also, over time, snapped. Not a bad thing. If I hadn't broken open, I wouldn't have released the trove of memory words inside. So that's kind of where I'm celebrating are kind of all the words that I stored inside myself over the years, words that kind of lay hidden inside, that as if it is in a memory box, which of course is sort of your brain. And so my gift and revelation is that I think everyone listening must have their own words sort of stored inside. And so if you find them, discover them, and write them, then those are really the true gifts of the holidays. And, words, of course, convey epiphanies and sort of shimmering moments. And they are as precious or more so than, gold, frankincense, or myrrh. So that is my revelation.
I love that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Do you feel like do you journal at all, or do you process all of your kind of writing emotions through essay form like that?
Yeah, I have never journaled, which is sort of embarrassing to say as a writer.
No, not at all.
But even like I never kept a diary, like even as a teenager or anything. I really only write something that's going to be kind of have an epiphany and metaphoric. And I can't do that as a journal. Like if I wrote a journal, it's sort of like, what did I do all day? Well, I kind of stared at a computer writing. I mean, it's like my life is so pathetic in a way. I don't really do anything. I mean, or I spent 5 hours reading a book or something. So I don't really have anything to journal. So I really do focus on just writing something that I want to kind of put out in the world.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us can relate to that idea of having all these words inside us, from different experiences, and we hold on to it. It can be really scary to open the box and let it out. What advice would you give folks to how do you open that box without being overwhelmed by what's inside?
Well, to know that whatever there is inside, that, things from the past, memories, that you already lived those, you already survived what happened to you. If any unhappiness or loss from the past, you've already survived it. And now by opening the box and writing these memories, it gives you an opportunity to sort of control the narrative and to put your story out there. And so I think you can feel safe just knowing that, hey, I survived this. Now I get to control the narrative. Now I get to sort of find the words to express what happened.
Love that.
That's wonderful guidance. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So where can people find you and learn more about selected misdemeanors?
Yeah, so my website is SueWilliamSilverman.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, also at Sue William Silverman. But if you go to my website, SueWilliamSilverman.com, has my email address, so you can feel free to contact me and learn more about selected misdemeanors and all of my other books as well.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. It's been great to talk to both of you.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too.
All right. We did it.
We
Bill,
did, and we are so much hungrier for it.
We are so much hungrier for it, and I'm so excited to go and get food. But before I do, I feel like you deserve the ability to tell our listeners where they can find your work and keep up with what you're doing.
They can find everything they need to know about me on billhulseman.com. Work about my information about my ritual design work, about my book, 6 to Carry the Casket and 1 to Say the Mass. I also offer guided meditations once a week, and all are welcome. It's free, no experience necessary, but especially during the winter when you're looking for a little peace and quiet or looking for some space to reflect, that's what the guided meditations are all for. So I'd love to welcome anybody who wants to join. All that information's on my website.
Awesome.
So you ready for the holidays, James?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've already got the hat. So, yeah. My girlfriend and I are putting up the tree. We also have to put it way off the ground because we got 2 cats. So we have to get artificial, and we have to make sure that it's short and stays off the ground. But yeah, we'll be ready for it. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and thanks to all of our guests that came on. We had some great conversations today, and really looking forward to getting to do it again in the new year. So I hope everyone has a happy holiday season and good new year, and we'll see you around next time.
Happy holidays.
All right. Thank you.